Emily here from Emily Reads, and today I have for you a massive book haul. There probably won't be another massive book haul for a while, at least until March. I am desperately need to just focus on whittling down my TBR, but I have two pre-orders that I purchased. I found some books at my library perpetual book sale, and then a place in my hometown called Books to Benefit. They have a book sale going on this weekend, and yesterday was kind of like the early bird sale. So there's a $10 entry fee, which I paid, and then I was able to shop for books early, and paperbacks were 50 cents and hardbacks were $2. So I went to town there, and a lot of the books that I found look pretty much brand new. So, and for 50 cents for a paperback, that's an amazing deal. So I have a decent amount of books to haul and show off. So that being said, I'm going to get started. So first, I'm going to show you my brand new books. So first, I got Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I'm not going to say too much about this because it's just been on BookTube a whole ton. And I did not buy it when it first was published in paperback. And so I just bought it, and it came out November 8th. And this edition contains a bonus prequel story. So I'm excited to read it. It will be up next for me after I finish my next book, which I purchased, Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, and that also came out on November 8th. I've already started it. I'm on page 124. Hopefully I'll be able to get a good chunk of this read, if not completely finished this weekend. Now, for the books that I purchased from the book sale that I went to, again, it was for a charity that funds adult literacy programs, so I was happy to lay down my money for that, and paperbacks were 50 cents and hardbacks were $2. So I found some really good deals. So the first thing I found, and I just had to snag, was more Robin Hobb. So I got, she wrote a trilogy called the Soldier Son trilogy, and so I picked up Shaman's Crossing, which is book 1, Forest Mage, which is book 2, and Renegade's Magic, which is book 3. So I got the whole Soldier Son trilogy for $1.50. You can't beat that. And the premise is Navarre Bouvel was destined from birth to be a soldier. The second son of a newly anointed nobleman, he must endure the rigors of military training at the elite King's Kavala Academy and survive the hatred, cruelty, and derision of his aristocratic classmates before joining the king of Gunnaria's brutal campaign of territorial expansion. The life chosen for him will be fraught with hardship, for he must ultimately face forest-dwelling folk who will not submit easily to a king's tyranny. And they possess an ancient magic their would-be conquerors have long discounted, a powerful sorcery that threatens to claim Navarre Bouvel's soul and devastate his world once the dark evening brings the carnival to Old Tharis. I finished Realm of the Elderlings this month, and I want more Hobb. I want more Hobb. And I've heard that this is it's not as good as Realm of the Elderlings, but again, to be fair to Realm of the Elderlings, we've got 16 books in it, so we can really develop some relationships with characters, but I've also heard this is still a fantastic showing for Robin Hobb. And then I picked up The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin, which is book 2 in the Broken Earth trilogy. They actually had the complete Broken Earth trilogy there. I picked up book 2, and look at that, it looks brand new, 50 cents. And I did also purchase the third book, which is The Stone Sky, and that's replacing my copy that I already have but like it has a big old crease down the front. So I picked up book 2 and book 3 in the Broken Earth trilogy. That's library book sale. So I'm going to wait on that. Then from the book sale, I purchased Temeraire in the Service of the King by Naomi Novik. And this is the bind up of the first 3 books. So this has, let me find, I really don't know much about this series. This has His Majesty's Dragon, Throne of Jade, and Black Powder War. Really the only thing that I know is that this is like set during the Napoleonic Wars, and it's like Napoleonic Wars with dragons. It's a really interesting concept. I've heard from people in some discords that I'm in that they've enjoyed like the first 2 books. It's a 9-book series, and unfortunately it doesn't quite sustain through the 9 books, but I'm intrigued. And it's got dragons, so why not try it? Then I also picked up Wild Magic by Tamora Pierce, and I have been searching for Tamora Pierce used, and I just can't find them. So either they're out of print or people just don't want to part with them. I hope it's the latter because I think Tamora Pierce is wonderful. But this is the first book in the Immortals series. It's a quartet, and it really follows after the Song of the Lioness quartet. But this is about Dane, and she's 13 years old, and she has a special connection to animals, but she realizes that it's not just a special connection. She's got magic connected to animals, so like she can speak to them, she can make them obey her, and she takes a job handling horses for the Queen's Riders, and she meets a mage, Numair, and she becomes his student, and under Numair's guidance she learns about her magic and how to handle her magic. So this is the first in the quartet. Now I just got to find the other 3. Then I also picked up by Salman Rushdie, The Satanic Verses, and I purchased this. I actually had a copy of this years and years ago, and I got rid of it, and I just haven't read it, and I kind of regret that now. I want to read it knowing, so he as many of you might know, he was stabbed at a public speaking event in New York earlier this year, and he was in really critical condition. I need to find out how he's doing now. But after he wrote this book, he had a fatwa put on his head. The Ayatollah had placed it on his head. And so there was like a multi-million-dollar reward, something crazy, if he was assassinated. And so this book is so the premise is that just before dawn, one winter's morning, a hijacked jetliner explodes above the English Channel. Through the falling debris, 2 men, Gabriel Farishta, the biggest movie star in India, and Saladin Chamcha, I probably totally mispronouncing these names, an expatriate returning from his first visit to Bombay in 15 years, plummet from the sky. Washing up on the snow-covered sands of an English beach, they proceed through a series of metamorphosed dreams and revelations. So it's the study of good and evil. And so, I don't know, when he was stabbed, I was like, man, I should have read this book. And so I do want to read this at some point in time. And I want to start working on diversifying my reading more and reading from different countries around the world. And Salman Rushdie is an Indian writer, so. Then I also, let me grab my bag. I picked up The Golem and the Genie, and funny story on this one, I actually went back to, like I looked at a table and I went back to the table and I was like, oh, Golem and the Genie. And I grabbed it, and I've heard so many good things about it. But this is about a golem who is a creature made of clay, and Chava is the golem, and Chava is brought to life by a man who dabbles in Kabbalism, and Ahmad is a genie, and that's really all I know, and it's set in 1899 New York. So I don't know too much about it other than that. I've heard good things on BookTube and on Discords about this book, so I'm looking forward to that. Then I also picked up The Huntress by Kate Quinn, and I've read The Alice Network by her and I enjoyed it. And from what I understand, I could be wrong. Okay, so Nina Markova is Russian, and she is thrown into the path of a lethal Nazi murderess known as the Huntress. And I really don't know too much more about that. Like, the only thing I thought it was about, like, assassins, like female assassins in World War II, but I could be completely off on that. But like I said, I like Kate Quinn. I liked The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. I like stories about women in World War II having those kind of positions of like spies and assassins. So that's why I picked that one up. And then I picked up The Orphan's Tale by Pam Jenoff, the Orphan's Tale. Oh man, this copy is bent, more bent than I thought it was. Bummer, but it was only 50 cents. And this is about 16-year-old Noah has been cast out in disgrace after becoming pregnant by a Nazi soldier and being forced to give up her baby. She lives above a small rail station, which she cleans in order to earn her keep. When she discovers a boxcar containing dozens of Jewish infants bound for a concentration camp, she is reminded of the child that was taken from her. So she snatches one of the babies and flees into the snowy night. And then it says she learns a flying trapeze act. I don't know if I'll like this because it sounds like she also must learn a flying trapeze act so she can blend in undetected in a German circus. I don't know if I'll like it, but it was for 50 cents. So we'll try it. If I don't like it, I can easily pass this on. And then I found The Three Body Problem by Xishan Liu and translated by Ken Liu. And this is a science fiction book. And it's set against the backdrop of China's Cultural Revolution. A secret military project sends signals into space to establish contact with aliens. An alien civilization on the brink of destruction captures the signal and plans to invade Earth. Meanwhile, on Earth, different camps start forming, planning to either welcome the superior beings and help them take over a world seen as corrupt, or to fight against the invasion. So I actually debated buying this a while ago at Half Price Books, and I ended up passing it because I had other things that I wanted to buy. But I got this, and it looks brand new for 50 cents. And again, I'm hoping to start working on reading books from different countries around the world, and this would be China. Then I found, this is kind of an older copy, it's a little bit yellowed, but I found Wizard and Glass by Stephen King, which is book 4 in the Dark Tower series. So now I have the entire Dark Tower series, and now I gotta start reading it. Then I found The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles, and again, this is only $2. So this is in June 1954. 18-year-old Emmett Watson is driven home to Nebraska by the warden of the juvenile work farm, who has just served 15 months for involuntary manslaughter. His mother long gone, his father recently deceased, and the family farm foreclosed upon the bank. Emmett's intention is to pick up his 8-year-old brother Billy and head to California where they can start their lives anew. When the warden drives away, though, Emmett discovers that 2 friends from the work farm have hidden themselves in the truck of the warden's car. Together they have hatched an altogether different plan for Emmett's future, one that will take them all on a fateful journey in the opposite direction, to the city of New York. So I've heard good things about Amor Towles, and I've heard good things about this book. So when I saw it for $2, I was like, okay. And then I picked up a bunch of biographies at this used book sale. And so some of them I might not actually keep, some I might actually pass on to my brother. So the first one is Lincoln by David Herbert Donald, and he won the Pulitzer Prize for another book, but I feel like, yeah. But I remember, like, when I saw this cover, the spine, I remember one of my friends reading this book in college. She was a history major. And then I picked up Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns Goodwin. She also won the Pulitzer Prize. I don't know if she won. No, she did not win the Pulitzer Prize for this book. But here's what's so special about this book. Again, I bought this for 50 cents. It's signed by the author. Now, granted, it's written to, it's dedicated to someone, to a couple that I don't know who they are, but it's signed by the author for 50 cents. But this is a multiple biography, and it's centered around Lincoln and like his cabinet, I believe. So it sounds really intriguing. I have been listening to back episodes of What Should I Read Next, which is Anne Bogle's podcast. And in the episodes that I've been listening to recently, I'm on episode 176. So I've just hit the year 2019 of her podcast, but this book has come up multiple times on her podcast. And so when I saw it, I had to snag it. Then I found Washington by Ron Chernow. This book, he won the Pulitzer Prize for. And I don't know if I'll read this or not, but this is for sure one that if I end up not reading it, I will pass on to my brother. I found Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow. I do want to read this one because I love the musical. I find it fascinating that this book inspired a musical. But yeah, I do plan on reading this. And then I found another behemoth. Look at how look at how good of a condition this is. Again, 50 cents. I found Grant by Ron Chernow as well. And I thought again, like if I don't read this, my brother would probably be interested in this. So that is all of the books that I purchased from the charity book sale. Now these are books that I got from my library book sale. So first I picked up The Last Will and Testament of Senator De Silva. I can't read the last name because of the font. Silva Arroyo? I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. By Germano Almeida. So this is by an author from Cape Verde. So again, if I want to read books from the 195 nations in the United Nations, this Cape Verde is one of those. And so I don't know really anything about this book other than it's by an author from Cape Verde and it's short and also it was free. And so I said, well, let me give it a shot. And I don't know any authors from Cape Verde, so that's why I just grabbed it. I found East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I've never read East of Eden. I read The Pearl in junior high, which I absolutely hated. And I was like, nope, I don't like John Steinbeck. I don't recommend The Pearl. I loved Of Mice and Men. I thought it was beautiful. I know some people have said you really need to read East of Eden. So when I found it for $1, I said, okay, I'll try it. I grabbed Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. And this is another story about World War II and two sisters separated by years and experience, and it's in German-occupied France. I've heard good things about it, so when I saw it was only for $1, I thought I'd pick it up. I found, this is an ARC that my library was selling, but it's 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. and she's an Australian author. I don't know. Oh, 9 people gather at a remote health resort for a variety of reasons. And that's really all I know. But she's an Australian author. So that's why I grabbed this, so that way that would fit with my reading around the world challenge that I want to start. And then I found Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. And I've heard a lot of good things about this. So this is in the early 1900s. The daughter of a crippled fisherman falls for a wealthy stranger at the seashore near her home in Korea. She becomes pregnant, and her lover is married. So she refuses to be bought. So she accepts an offer of marriage from a gentle, sickly minister passing through on his way to Japan. And she abandons her home, and the decision to abandon her home and to reject her son's powerful father sets off a dramatic saga that will echo down through the generations. It looks pretty much brand new. Oh, there is a slight crease there. But it was $4, so I figured I'd pick it up. And then the last book I think is really funny that I have this, but I found a copy of Assassin's Apprentice at my library book sale for $1. And so when I saw that, I had to grab it. If you know me, you know that I have just finished Realm of the Elderlands by Robin Hobb. This is the first book, and I picked it up because I love Realm of the Elderlands so much. I want my friends to read it. But my books are like the nice UK editions, and I'm not going to loan them out. And so I picked it up so I could pass it on to a couple of my friends. And the first one is about Fitz. He starts off, he's 6 years old. He's illegitimate, and he's the son of a prince who stepped down from his role as a prince in waiting to the throne once it's revealed that he's got this son. And he is raised at the court by a stableman, and he is treated like as an outcast, but then his grandfather, the king, says, I want you to train to become an assassin. So it's got that, and he also learns about different magic systems within that he has a gift in. Whew, I have no idea how many books those are, but it's quite a lot. I figured I would talk about them because I also need to put them away and get my life a little organized before Thanksgiving. So that being said, please let me know in the comments below, what book are you looking forward to reading? What book do you think I should read next from this stack? And what are you thankful for this year? And as always, please like and subscribe. Have a wonderful weekend.